Guys, stop apologizing for being proud of yourself. Sometimes people that talk to me, they'll be like, oh my God, they'll be like, I'm sorry, man. I feel like I'm just talking about myself. I'm like, hey man, listen, it's okay to believe in yourself around me, buddy. Okay? You're giving me hope. When good shit happens to people, I get hopeful. Cause that's the positive about being selfish.
Welcome to FredTalk, where if you're not learning, hopefully you're laughing.
Welcome to FredTalk. I am your host, Freddie Valoy. This is the podcast about who even knows now. Who knows? I change it every week. I have no idea. It's people, it's ideas, it's relationships. It's just life, man. This shit is just life. You know, I want people to listen to other people's experiences and be like, oh shit, I'm not the only one out here getting ghosted. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the only one out here that has 4 side families. All right. I'm out here. I'm not alone here on an island, you know? Today's guest is one of my favorite people to talk to. There's been a couple times where we had some cool conversations about just like men and women dynamic, dating dynamic, things like that. And I remember being like, I got to get Devon on, and we finally able to get her on. This is the second episode we recorded because my first one, I was running off that 2010 MacBook, bro. I was running off of microwave trying to do a successful podcast. What does that even mean? So after I upgraded the studio, I had to get her in and give, it was a fun episode. We talk fashion because Devon's a stylish lady. She, you can just tell she knows what she do. You know, some people you look at and you see the way they're dressed and you're like, oh, you have like style. This is coming from within. This isn't some shit you ain't trying to follow a trend. You might take a little something from a trend and make it your own thing. And that's cool. I like that. Also, we talk a lot about dating. We talk about, I like this talk because it was very, I think we've gone deeper than we have in a while with dating, at least when it comes to like the single life type stuff and getting out there and some of the things that, men are fucking up on. And Devon gets introspective and talks about some of the things she should work on, or maybe she works herself up about, which is really cool. We talk about her life as a former mean girl and what that was like. This episode's great. Oh my God. The anxiety in the first 5 dates, that whole thing. I mean, that's a whole different universe in itself. Guys, without any further ado, I feel like I've been rambling, but that's okay, man. We got to get it out sometimes, dude. What are we going to do here? All right. The world is burning. I'm so sorry for singing. I can't sing, guys, at all. Like I sing. Whenever I sing in front of people, they make this face like, oh my God. Like I can tell they lose respect for me when I sing. Without any further ado, here's Devon Roberts. Yay. Sorry, guys. I already pulled one over on you. I told you I was going to introduce you to Devon Roberts, but first, a word from our sponsors. Sign up at ownthechaos.com to receive their daily email for their 5 stocks to watch that day. All right? Go on. You get you get a useful email on how you could make more money. Well, it's not some 10% off at the Cracker Barrel email, some bullshit where they're like, hey, just checking up on you. It's like, bitch, you take my money every month. What am I going to do? I don't like when the student loan companies try to get too friendly. All right. Off track there, ownthechaos.com. Sign up for their daily watch list, and you can catch me there every Thursday at 3:30. They do a live stream. It's a fun and supportive YouTube community. So if you've been looking into getting to investing, want to know, these guys, they got your back. They do 3 to 4 streams a week. Super interactive, super fun. So check them out at ownthechaos.com. All right, now here's our episode. Devon, what type of area did you grow up in?
I grew up in an industrial suburb of Detroit that I'm only just understanding to be like an industrial suburb. What
is that like? A big factory was there, and like, oh, obviously because it's Detroit. My bad.
No, but like this is like a new thing that I've been thinking a lot about. I think I just thought I grew up in like a normal, boring suburb, but it actually wasn't a lot like the other suburbs around Detroit, which there's like 40 or 50 of them. But like my hometown is mostly warehouses, and like there's like 3 Ford plants. And then I was talking to my dad about this when I was back for Christmas, and he was like, well, you know what's on like a railroad corridor? And I'm like, no, like I don't. I don't know about railroad quarters because I'm not like an immigrant from the 1800s, like trying to like move across the country.
Yeah. Wait, what is like playtime like for a kid that grows up in that type of area?
There was like my parents' house was unique in that there was like woods behind their house and like a creek and then some fields around.
Yeah.
So I had like what I feel like to get to school, which were kind of in my parents' backyards, I used to like cross a bridge, go through some woods, and then walk through like a big snowy field to get to my elementary school. But you could see my elementary school from my parents' house. So it wasn't that big, but it just like sounds like people were like, that sounds fake. I'm like, no, like I really was trudging through like 3 feet of snow because it's the fastest way to get there. But I played a lot in like the woods and in the creek and stuff. But that was like unique to our neighborhood.
That walk to school sounds like something out of a movie. Something I'd see like as a kid and be like, damn, I want to do some like white people shit like that. Like,
like wear snow pants. Like you have to dress up in your normal clothes and then put on a snowsuit and then you walk to school and then you take your snowsuit off and then you're in school for the rest of the day.
So, all right. I'm curious to know what type of like people in general. Obviously, we're just making generalizations here for the combo. What type of people? Like, what type of people does that? Like, the question is, what type of people were in your area?
Yeah, so many white people.
Yeah,
and then also a lot of like Middle Eastern people because there's just so many. Well, I feel like it's like in Southeast Michigan, you got black people, you got white people from the Mediterranean, and then you got Polish people.
Okay.
And Middle Eastern people, but also generally like Mediterranean people. There's so many Italians. There's like so many Greek restaurants. And then there's just like so many Lebanese restaurants and other like Mediterranean things. And then of course, black people who moved there up from the South usually, or like just like Detroit is actually like a melting pot when people use that phrase. Like Detroit is like a real place because people move there for the jobs.
We talked about this briefly. You have like different types of white people there, which is something that like not a lot of people understand. In Raleigh, there's like mainly one type of white person. Yeah. But you grew up with like the Polish, the Italian, and all that. So you had good food in that area? Yeah, like real good food. There's like one Greek restaurant here. I would never go there. It's terrible. Like the Greek food in where I grew up is like, I was explaining this to someone, like, have you heard of saganaki? No. It's a Greek cheese that you order as an appetizer, and then when you go to these like big Greek restaurants in Detroit, which is like Greek town, so there's like a neighborhood of Detroit called Greek town, and you order saganaki, it's a square of cheese that they light on fire. And so while you're eating your meals, there's just like pyrotechnics, just like every couple minutes, because this cheese is so popular, it's so delicious, but it's truly just like a ball of flame every 5 minutes when you're at these restaurants. I think Greek people do that to distract from the fact that their Mediterranean food is bottom tier compared to the rest. Ooh, okay. I believe that. I would say it's the simplest. Okay. Oops, I just touched that. No, you're good. Yeah. I would think that Greek food might be like because like no one, unfortunately, I think Greek food's really good, but it's also like a lot more simple than like Italian food. Yeah, that's true. And there's not a lot of like fine dining experiences, I think, with Greek food. Mm-mm. No. It's not something that like, it's like a healthy, like I want to go out, something a little bit healthy, but like still have good food. It is good. I was joking. Oh wait, they do the I forgot they do the gyro. That's like a staple in New York. Yeah. And I know it's pronounced gyro, but in New York we're stupid. So we say, I don't think I pronounce it correct. I think I pronounce it gyro. Gyro? But I don't think that that's right either. I hear it's gyro because I think that's how you say it in their language. But yeah, I grew up for like, it was like 18 years saying gyro, and then moving away, people were like, no, it's gyro. And then so many people, I was like, oh shit, I'm stupid. Like I pronounced prosciutto wrong. I don't even know if I'm doing it right correctly. Prosciutto. So, that's just like, and somebody was like, oh, you don't know how to pronounce that, but it's like a food that I never eat. So sure. Did you, when you say it, do you picture the word in your head? Because you said it the way it's. Yes, like, okay, then I must have. Yeah, because now I'm still like confused. I don't know. I'd also think that like we shouldn't be policing how people pronounce every word. Exactly, right? Have some fun. I don't speak Italian. Exactly. Yeah. Like also another thing is like people saying proper English, which like there is call it whatever you want, but like if people were like, or grammar Nazis or whatever, like then we wouldn't have like Def Jam comedy. There's like so many different ways to speak. Yeah. And I think I'm tired of I like an accent. Yeah. I don't want to talk like I'm writing a book. Yeah, Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're not supposed to put a preposition or end the sentence in a preposition. It's like you said, I'm not a book. Like,
Yeah, I'm not a editor of a book too, where it's like my job to make sure all the commas are in the right place.
Yeah. So you brought up Elm Caleb earlier.
Okay, yeah.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah, I kind of I have some feelings.
What? All right. So tell us what's going on.
Elm Caleb popped up in my Twitter feed. So what the nature of like the internet seems like things get to Instagram last. Where did you start seeing it?
I heard it on a podcast.
Okay. So, that might be like the fourth stop.
Yeah.
Too. But like it started on TikTok, and I'm part of a group chat of like comedians around the country, of like women comedians around the country, and a lot of them live in New York City.
Okay.
So they actually it was like local for them. So they were like, have you heard about this? And so I heard it started going around on TikTok, and then it made it to like my Twitter feed, and then it got to Instagram and then a podcast. But basically there was this man in his 20s in New York who was like really hitting the dating apps very hard.
Yeah.
And, doing very typical weird, I think like kind of typical things where he would like flirt really hard, and then he would be like, oh, I'm stopped talking to these people.
Yeah.
Or just they'd go on one date and it would go well, and he just like wouldn't follow up again. All this real normal stuff. And then all of these women, he did apparently send unsolicited pictures of his dick, which anybody who didn't like, that's really bad. Obviously, like that's normal. That's not normal. That's bad. That's shitty. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But there were also women who didn't get unsolicited pictures of his penis, who were like, he like love bombed me and then he ghosted me, and that's why he's the worst person on earth, and he works at West Elm. And it was just like all these TikToks essentially of like women over analyzing like what I think is pretty standard behavior.
Yeah.
And then they think I feel like his life must be ruined. I felt kind of bad for him, even for like sending a dick pic. I think it's
Do you think West Elm, is he still working for them, or
imagine like the break room like the day after all of these TikToks hit, and he's just like trying to design furniture, and everyone's like,
they're like, West Elm Caleb,
we saw a picture of your dick.
Like, was that the inspiration for your last piece, Caleb? The nightstand,
The phallic nightstand.
Yeah. That does seem just like normal, like Tinder behavior. It's not, the dick pics. I think after like what, I don't know, 2020, like you can't be doing dick pics in today's day and age. It's already like widely known that like I've never heard one woman ever say, oh, I love me an unsolicited dick pic.
It's truly so jarring to receive them. But the women who like didn't get a dick pic, I kind of don't think that they had a leg to stand on. And then he just became like a meme.
Yeah.
But he's like a real person. And then they called him out at work, and they put like real pictures of him. Like I would move.
Where? It's everywhere. Oh, you'd move to a different country.
I would move to a different country. I guess I would go by my middle name.
Yeah.
I would leave New York City. I mean, like, how could you be Caleb on a dating app after that?
After that. And then they probably saw a picture or they're going to ask him, oh, wait, like West Elm Caleb, like, or make a joke.
Yeah.
And then he's going to have to be like, no, yeah, that's me.
But he was just like a tall, like if I was on a dating app, which I am, and I found a tall guy who was a furniture designer, yeah, sure. That's great. That's an interesting job. It's creative, working with your hands. I saw a picture of him. He was like normal looking, like swipeable, which is like the bare minimum of what you need on a dating app. And then like you deal with like, he sounds just like an idiot with like a low emotional intelligence, but I don't think he needed to have his whole life blown up. No,
not at all. For some reason, I just realized white dude.
Yeah.
I was picturing a light skinned black dude for some reason. I think just because they are known to be players, like typically, like, or like, I don't know why. When I heard this story, it was a light skinned black dude.
I think that's always interesting when people like picture something in their head and then they're usually wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right. So as a like you're a person that's interested in interior design, did this story affect you differently than somebody else?
Well, I know I'd be such a sucker for a furniture designer.
You would have been, you could have gotten the unsolicited West Elm Caleb dick.
And then I don't think I would have made a TikTok, just like all of the other girls who did it. And some of my friends like found him on dating apps too. Like they were like, yeah, we matched on a dating app, but like nothing really came of it. It just seems like really normal stuff.
Yeah, I would.
but not normal in a good way. Like we should be having a conversation about how like society shouldn't be having a conversation about this like one idiot. We should be having a conversation about how like what are seen as normal dating practices actually like can hurt people's feelings and like be really bad. Like when somebody has like, I've been ghosted and it did hurt my feelings and it did make me feel really bad.
Yeah.
So like we should be talking about how like these practices that we see as normal actually can hurt people and like shouldn't be normal because they're cruel sometimes, but we shouldn't be like putting it all on this one person who's just like a normal guy kind of like doing his things. But also now I guess I'm a West Elm Caleb apologist.
All right. So in regards to like ghosting, what you're saying is like it's kind of like you charge it to the game kind of thing. It happens, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
But it obviously shouldn't be around.
Yeah, I think that like the older you get, the more it seems like you can send someone, especially if you've like hung out once. If you've like never hung out, I don't think it matters. But if you've like hung out once or twice and it's just not working for you, I think it kind of costs you very little to be like, hey, sorry, this isn't for me. The best of luck to you. Whereas then that just like makes the other person not have to worry about it.
Yeah. And I think today, because of all the ghosting going on, it's like times 3 on the appreciation for doing something very little. Like someone will be like, oh, thank you. You're not a piece of shit or whatever.
And then like the lead up to being ghosted, when like you're on the end of someone who, when you are about to be ghosted and you're still sort of like unaware of your being ghosted or you don't like quite realize it yet, those like texts that you end up sending in that interim, like that's sad. And like kind of embarrassing.
Oh,
and
damn.
if someone can save you from sending those like, hey, like, are you around this weekend? Or like, I thought of you text, like if someone can just like preempt that and like tell you, hey, it's not for me, then that saves everybody like time and worry.
Oh my gosh. Imagine like an app that does that for you, like a part of the dating app. Like, are you sure you want to send that? Or you just texted him an hour ago. He hasn't responded.
Yeah. And I've been the last like 2 guys I was like really like I was like seeing or like I saw multiple times, both were like bad texters. And so like there's so much in like when you're talking to someone who's a bad texter, then there's like a real like, are they ghosting me question?
Yeah.
Which is like so not fun to deal with.
All right. So are they bad texters like throughout the whole thing, or are they just like, hey, let's just go out and meet on a date, I don't really text kind of thing?
One dude I was talking to, God, I just I really did like a lot of like mental gymnastics to make excuses for like him being a bad text. And I think that he decided on a communication style that he's just like, I'm not someone who's on my phone a lot. But like actually that's bad because like everyone else is. And so if you're trying to like, it's like we all need to have healthier relationships with our phones. But like if someone asks you like a planning text message, you cannot wait a day to reply. That's so shitty. And like that's like you making that decision for yourself to be like someone who's like, he clearly made like a communication style like decision for himself. And then that was like just like a bad decision because it mean that he couldn't really operate in like the normal world. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But what if he's saving his mental health for not being like hooked to the phone?
If you're trying to fuck me, you can reply to my text messages.
My bad. You're right. This context. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's like that element I think is so key.
Yeah.
You know? And like, I also think like I need to put my phone down. Like I'm really bad about that. And no one should ever like, we need to have a healthier style, but it also like so much of dating, I think like is kind of like texting and like communicating. Cause like you do learn a lot about someone that way. Yeah. And if this dude I was talking to just kind of just like made a decision that like we weren't going to learn anything about each other via text.
Yeah.
And it was weird for me.
I've heard dudes that do that and they say that they don't want to waste the energy of trying to get to know someone, then you go on the date and you don't like them. A lot of them say, let's just go on the date, figure this out, and then I'll decide whether I'd text. Yeah,
I also do agree with that because I don't like texting with someone too much before we hang out. Okay. Right? Like setting up a plan and then hanging out. And then after that, like that's where all the flirting happens, is like texting in between hangs.
Yes. Oh yeah. Because then you're doing the inside jokes from the date and all this. All right. What's the coolest date you ever been on?
What's the coolest date I've ever been on? I would love to have an answer for that question, but I don't really feel like I have one.
What's like a typical date for you? Or like, what would you like to, I don't know.
Okay. I guess I would one thing that I struggle with is that I'm such a planner. It's just like so instinctive for me to be like, it's just really like I always like have always made the plans and like, you know, nothing crazy. And I would just like to not have to make a plan.
Oh, see that women love that, right? You just kind of like when it comes to something like that, like, hey, I got this ready for us. I just learned that with my girl like years later. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh, I like just scheduling something little and being like, come on, let's go. Like I planned something for us. It's good.
Yeah, I like struggle to answer this question like I did. One of my exes like did plan like a nice day for us where we like went to the art museum and then like we went out to dinner and like it was like a nice day. But I also had to be like, hey, like I've literally made every single other plan that we've ever done. So like, can you do something for once?
Yeah.
And like asking for that wasn't like I feel like it can be equal.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like I'll do 60-40. Like I know I'm always going to be planning things.
Yeah.
Or even 75-25. Slowly like 90-10.
Somebody call me.
Yeah. Just like somebody be like, hey, have you heard of this restaurant?
Yeah. And then you'll take it from there.
Yeah. Or just, I don't just like literally.
How would you react if a guy asked you on a first date to go grocery shopping?
Would we be like cooking afterwards? Or is it just to do grocery shopping?
All right, let's do both. Let's do no cooking after. Let's just go grocery shopping. We grab like a couple of drinks before.
I really hate shopping with other people.
Okay.
But I would think it was fun if like we were like, yeah, let's go to the grocery store. Let's pick out some food that looks good. And then like we'll go back and like we'll cook it in a kitchen.
That's a badass date. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to do that as like a first date though. I do think like in public is good for a first date.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you don't want to go.
But like eventually that's like a cute date.
It's funny the difference there. Like as a woman, you're like, first date, we can't go to your house. As a guy, you're like trying to, come back to my house. First date, doesn't matter. Like
I actually just did that where I'm trying to decide if I think my mom is going to listen to this conversation or not. But I actually just did this. The most recent guy that I was like on a series of dates with, because of scheduling and like COVID stuff, the first time we hung out was like at my apartment with like a heavy vet. Like we heavily vetted each other beforehand. So I want everyone to understand that I did not feel like I was in like a dangerous situation when I let this strange man come to my home with bottles of alcohol. But like, so we did do that. And then after that, all of our subsequent hangs were also just at each other's houses.
Okay. Yeah.
And then like I think that was actually like a bad idea. And that was actually like, I don't want to blame myself and maybe be like, that was like laziness, but I think it was like COVID and convenience and like struggling to find times to hang out.
Yeah.
But also like that really, like, I think that actually was a really bad idea because there was no hangs that were outside of like a not sexual context. Cause it's so easy to like have sex at someone's house. It's like not easy to have sex at a restaurant. And like, there also wasn't like, just sort of like public. I kept being like, I want to go out to dinner because like, what if he doesn't believe in tipping or something like that?
Yeah,
and we never even got to that point.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna ask you, what do you think's the value of a public hang? And that's definitely one of them. Like, get to see how someone treats a server and all that. What else do you think?
That was like my main key to be like, and also like, can we carry on a conversation in a place where like we're not? It's like not super sexual. I think is really important. But like I was mostly worried about like, is this man rude to servers?
That's a good one.
That's like, because that's like a real deal breaker.
There's some assholes with that. It would suck. Like the weird ones when I was a server was like it was usually like bitchy or whatever significant other, and then the other person is just kind of like, doesn't make eye contact. I'm like, this is a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Like,
can you have chemistry in public is so important
Yeah.
too, I think.
Yeah. So how much time, like, would you just like hang out with this person, and like in a non-sexual context? Was it like 2-3 hours, and then like? I
wish.
Okay. I thought you didn't understand the question at first, but I was like, I fucked that up. Okay, I see what you mean. I've done hangouts like that before, where it's just I guess. But in those conditions though, Devon, with like COVID and all that, like what else were you gonna do?
I don't want to be at fault in any way ever, right? And like I think that like when I've talked about this with my friends and I was like, well, we never hung out in public, and they're like, well, that was a mistake. And I'm like, but I don't think it was a mistake that like we made, because it was like it's hard to schedule. Like like I have a busy schedule, he had a busy schedule. We're in a pandemic. I didn't really want to like get arbitrary drinks somewhere. Yeah. You know, kind of for no reason. But I do now think it's important, and I wouldn't do that again. Also, especially because like I'm not just looking for like a hookup, I guess, in the long term. So, and I do want to be in a relationship with someone eventually. Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of that's like an indoor and outdoor activity to be in a relationship with someone. So you need to like test the waters.
What's a non-negotiable for you?
You please, like being nice to service workers is like non-negotiable to me. Non-negotiable like racism, non-negotiable sexism, violence. But I'm trying to think of like a more chill one. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you'll have some insight into this, but I keep dating men who like don't make me laugh. Oh. And I don't know if that's something that I should be sacrificing or seeking out.
Is that what you want in a guy?
I would love to laugh. Yeah, once or twice in my life before I die.
Would you date a comedian?
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be difficult.
There's a lot of guys that aren't stand-ups that are funny. Yeah. Where do you find these unfunny men?
Just like around, even comedians. Like I once hung out with a comedian who did not live in North Carolina, and he kept like having really serious conversations with me. I think because I have my job, which I work in politics, and men are always trying to have really serious conversations with me. Like I was on a date with this one guy, a different guy, not the comedian, who was like, what do you think about capital punishment? And then I was like, please don't ask me. And then he was like, well, then let's just fuck. And then so it was like, don't what the fuck? Like that wasn't like what he said, but that was basically the course of events. Like he asked me what I thought about capital punishment, and then he tried to have sex with me. And I was like, what is it about me that happened?
So that type of thing has happened more than once.
Yeah. Like I had to be like, I basically, people just like men on dates are always trying to like get me to talk about politics. And I'm always usually just being like, hey, that's like my job. Yeah. Can we talk about other things? Like, or it's like, I don't really, I worked all day. I don't really want to like analyze this campaign that you're interested in, like in my free time for no money. Yeah. And then like trying to like steer the conversation away, or like in a polite way, or even be like really blunt, be like, I don't want to talk about work or something like that. But like still it keeps coming up.
What would you say your style of humor? How would you explain your style of humor?
Oh, isn't that embarrassing though?
To explain it? Yeah. I guess as a stand-up, it is a little weird.
I think that like when I have to give like a bio for something, I always describe myself as whimsical. Yeah. Yeah. You got whimsy. And I think that that's like true. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Writing a bio for yourself is like it's like.
How do you describe yourself in your comedy?
Silly. Yeah. Silly, and I've been told confrontational. So so silly and confrontational. So
I like that mix.
Right? It's a,
Yeah, and I think that that's true.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you got whimsical. You definitely, whimsical. I like that. So do you look for whimsy in a guy, or are you looking for more like sense of humor? Sense of humor in a guy.
I think I would ideally like someone with more than a sense of humor of just laughing at my jokes, because like I've been like, I was in my like old relationship with like my ex who I was in the longest relationship with, I remember this like really pivotal moment where I don't even remember what you're talking about, but he like laughed really hard. And then I was like, wow, I would love to laugh once.
Oh my God.
And I know we like did laugh, and like he and I got along really well. And like, I know we had like a lot of like fun times, and he was really silly, but like in general, I've like definitely been on a lot of dates in the last couple of years where like I did not laugh once and they laughed. And I was just like, can't it be just like more equal? And I know that I'm a comedian, but like, and I also know that I'm like not a very easy laugh.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I'm so curious. I hope I still know you when you find the guy that's like
that's funny. And I like have a funny family. Like everyone in my family is also funny. Like I can't bring home like a dud.
No, yeah. The family list starts looking down on you. They're like, what are you doing? Like, what?
Yeah, you just like you have to have jokes to hang. But I no longer like expect it to like end up with like a funny guy on a date. Isn't that so sad?
It is sad.
I don't know. Other people are saying that, but like truly like the data would suggest that it's not likely.
Oh my gosh. I have hope for you, Devon. Just know that. Like I think you're gonna find the funny skater that has his shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've had some like you're catching me at like a lower moment because I've had some like disappointing interactions lately.
That's what I'm hearing from most people, that the single life is it's treacherous. Like, you know, people ghosting, a lot of inconsistent motherfuckers. Like,
yeah, and I would probably say that like overall, I probably have like positive experiences. Like no one's like racist or rude. So those are all good, and I know that other people have like had truly like nuts interactions like from people they've met on a dating app or so I don't want to like portray it as being like tragic or bad, but like disappointing I think is a good way to put it. But it's also like one thing I'm trying to like remember is that like it's supposed to be disappointing until it's not, right? Isn't that how it goes?
That would make sense, right? Because like dating or like a relationship's like the hardest thing you can do, like to get two people to connect and all that on all those different levels. So one would assume that it's going to take you a bunch of tries to get to the person. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like, I've also been trying to like make peace with the process and being like, I'm not good at like unknowns. Like I'm so confident when I'm in a situation where like, this is what time you need to arrive and this is what you need to do when you're here. And I'm like, that's great. Give me like a brief and I will fulfill it. Yeah. I'm less good at like the unknown stuff. So like, I feel like I'm really good on like a date and like, I'm happy to talk to people and like meet new people and have those sorts of navigation conversations. But like the interim where you're like, well, what's this person's like, is if I text them at, you know, in the afternoon, like, is that going to throw off their whole day or like, do they not text or something like that? And like trying to figure out like the nuances in between the dates. That's the part where I'm not, I think, confident.
Okay.
And then also just like waiting for the process to play out. Like, yeah, we'll go on, you know, like 4 or 5 dates. And then like at some point, one of us is going to like make a decision about like, if we want like to keep hanging out.
5 dates is probably max, right?
I've been like 3 to 5 dates has been like traditionally for me when like the end happens.
I feel like that's a good, good little test.
But in the interim, I feel like the anticipation of that, I'm trying to be more comfortable with.
Okay. So that from date 1 to date 3 or 4, you're like.
Sometimes I think I create stress for myself in a way that like makes the process not fun, where I need to just be like more like, yeah, whatever, like 3 dates, you'll have a gut feeling or someone will.
What do you think you could do to enjoy that period more? I think
one big thing is just like recognizing that like I'm creating all this extra stress for myself, and then just being like, trust the process. This is the process. And just like, that's the sort of thing that like when I find myself that just like reminding myself that there's a process that is very helpful to me because I'm a process person.
Does your anxiety increase if you like had a really good first date with the guy or like?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also, it does. But I also think that I need to be more, what is the word? I don't know. I feel like I tend to be like, well, this is great. This is good.
Yeah.
And then like I'm in kind of. And be a little bit more skeptical. I think I need to be a little bit more
What do you
skeptical.
mean what do you mean?
Well, I think sometimes I'm just sort of like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, why not? Let's
Yeah.
hang out again.
That time period that you're talking about is crazy though.
Yeah.
There's so much emotion and anticipation. It's like international waters. Like you don't know. Yeah, that is a I bet somebody could write a book literally on just those.
Just the first 4 dates. Yeah. That's like there's like movies in like the first 4 dates of the thing. Yeah.
What do you think from what you've noticed on the dating scene? I guess other than most men not being funny, what do you think people can do or dudes can do better?
Maybe these are just like the particular men, but just like, again, like a quicker response to a text message is really helpful.
Yeah.
And if you're a person or not a woman or anybody who's just like, especially like a planning text, I think like if somebody's trying to make plans, they're usually, when I've tried to make plans with someone like I'm seeing, it's usually because I have other stuff going on. And like, people are like, what are you doing this weekend? And you're sort of like, oh, well, I kind of would like to save one of my weekend nights for this person I might go on a date with. But like people are asking me, it's not because like I'm so thirsty for this person. It's because I have like other shit going on that I need to figure out. And so like planning texts, especially to me, is so rude to ignore.
Yeah, that's true. Like you said earlier, especially if they're trying to like get in your pants, like that's Yeah, that's just common decency. 24 hours is more than enough time.
I can't believe the hoops I've jumped through to be like, he just has a different relationship to his phone. You know, his job is stressful, and it's like, you're not a pilot or like a surgeon. Yeah. You can look at your phone during the day. That's like a choice you make.
Do you catch yourself thinking those things and be like, come on?
I'm gonna start.
All right. Oh shit.
I'm gonna start.
Yeah, that'll probably help though. You're like,
yeah.
Come on, girl.
Be like giving up like mine, like, and also just being like, well, like one thing that I sacrificed was sort of like my need, like the way that my brain works, I can't help but plan things. And people like friends and other people have been like, that's really annoying. And I'm like, well, I don't do it on purpose. And also like you benefit when I make a plan because like you don't want to make a plan.
Yeah.
And like now you know what time you need to be ready by and where we're going. So like you're benefiting from something that you're complaining about, which I don't think is fair. But also just like sacrificing like my own need to know what's going on so that I can accommodate like their bad behavior. Like that's not good.
Yeah.
And in the long run, whoever ends up being my partner, they're going to have to deal with me planning things. I just like can't. They'll benefit from it too.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot of people that don't like planning shit. That's that's time and energy. If you're not built like that, like you, like
Yeah. Yeah, like a former friend of mine really used to rag on me for planning things, but also like truly like she benefited so hard from me being the one to make every plan. So it's like kind of need to shut the fuck up.
So have you decided since the beginning of this conversation what the ratios would be? Because it sounds like you want to do most of the planning, but you want the dude to do some planning as well. What do you think? 30% dude planning? I feel like
30% dude, or just like 30% dude planning.
Yeah.
Or just something. I mean, sometimes I think it's more just being like, well, when do you want to hang out next? Like that's also really nice. That's a really nice thing to hear from someone is to be like, oh yeah, like when are you free?
Yeah. Let's
and
do
then
this
like
again.
Collaborating on stuff. I'm not unreasonable. Like I also like, I don't know. I will just pick the same like 3 restaurants.
If a guy texts you the very next day, or do you look at that as like, oh gosh, calm down? Or is that's I
think I do like sort of like pretty regular communication. Now, I don't need someone to talk to all day, every day. Like I have people who fill that niche.
Yeah.
But like, check in, text, or every other day, every couple days when you're just like learning about each other. I think if you're going to become people who text all day, every day, then that has to happen organically. You can't force that. Yeah,
it can't feel like a job.
Yeah.
And then you start getting like 4 texts from the person and it's like you start hating the person for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh. I just had the question. Dating. Oh, what was your how long was your longest relationship? So glad I remembered. I usually don't.
Just under a year.
Okay.
Not super long.
What was your biggest takeaway from that one?
should have ended it earlier, probably.
Yeah. Tale as old as time. I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah. I remember in my younger years, like hanging out in a relationship, and this is such a piece of shit move, but being like, I'm just going to be a bad boyfriend so that she breaks up with me.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. This was like in my early 20s.
That's like a lot of work.
So it's insane. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm embarrassed to say that a lot, but yeah. So you said leave early.
Well, in that really, my ex like was such a good hang. Like we would have so much fun, just like, and he was funny. I don't want to misrepresent him as not being. He's never going to listen to this, but if he did, he would be mad. We're also still like tight, kind of.
Oh,
like
that's cool.
we had like a healthy relationship after we broke up.
Okay.
Because we had to like continue to work together.
Yeah.
On and off over the years. So he has like he was just like such a fun hang. But we had like intimacy. He should have just been like a best friend instead of like a boyfriend because we had like intimacy issues. I think we couldn't have really gotten over. But in terms of just like hanging out like on the couch or like driving somewhere, he was like so much fun to be around.
Oh yeah, that is a even trickier spot to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the doing the friend thing. So all right, so in the future relationship, what are some red flags you're going to be looking for so that you don't stay in a relationship longer than you need to?
I think now I would recognize like intimacy issues. Like that wasn't just like sex, but also just like, I think like intimate communications, just being like, these are my feelings. And I think like going through that and like how, like going through that relationship and having those like issues, I hope that I would be able to like, to fend them off in the future. Cause I really learned how to like ask for what I need when I was in that relationship.
Oh, damn. That's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. What do you think about the most?
Ooh, you've asked me this before. I should have known. Oh God. I think I had a depressing answer and I was like, just getting through the day, which like realistically, I think I do think about just getting through the day the most. Like, what do I have to do next? I've been thinking a lot about Michigan where I grew up. And I've been I think about clothes all day. I try not to think about my job. Those are the things I think about. Yeah,
you're stylist as shit, so I understand you thinking about clothes. What are some fashion trends going on right now that you're like, I don't know about this? Why, you know?
I think every generation and every year we have to deal with embarrassing pants. And this year and last year is no different. And it's just like a standard. There's some really terrible pants out there every single year.
Which ones?
I'm thinking in particular of this, like, I think the brand that does it is called House of Sunny, and they have some really cute stuff in general, but they're definitely like an Instagram brand. That's not a criticism, but like, I think that they really pop off through like really targeted Instagram ads. Mm-hmm. And there's some pants that I've seen through House of Sunny that are like the trifecta of like a weird cut, a weird material, and a weird pattern. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm getting ads for these. Like they almost look like Aladdin type pants. Yeah. Aladdin or harem pants are frankly, I think really bad. Is that, are harem pants the ones where like typically have like an elephant print on them or something? Like harem pants like are like exactly what Aladdin wore, where they're like a balloon pant and then they have a cuff at the bottom. Yeah. These pants that I'm thinking of are like a stretchy, weird material flare, which flares are fine and flares are cute. But then these like bright orange or like weirdly green, like swirls all over them. And I just think in hindsight, we're going to be like, maybe that wasn't the moment. But I also like really try, like I'm a reformed mean girl. And I really try not to rag on the way other people dress because it's so personal. And it's just like how I would feel so bad if someone was like, I look so good in these pants. And I was like, sorry, those are ugly. And I ruined their day. I don't want that. I love that you said you're a reformed mean girl. I want to talk about that. Okay. So I don't mean to skip over the fashion thing, but the other day at the comedy club, you roasted this audience member. Oh yeah. I was like, God damn. Oh, I know. Like, I feel really bad about that. It was hilarious. It was like the comedians liked it. Oh God. But I lost the audience already. But you were just going off the cuff, right? And just like, it just kind of came out. Well, it's like, true. Yeah. But it wasn't about the way that they look. Yeah. So there's been like, since like the Good Nights mic came back, there's this like group of men who come to the open mic every week. And two of them look like straight up Adonises, like
Yeah.
surfer, long, luscious blonde hair, surfer bodies, hot.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple that they go with, but like the main, and they always sit like front row. So all the comedians are just like roast them because they're so hot. But I asked the group of them once, I was like, you keep coming back. And I frankly, as a comedian, I don't understand like who goes to open mics. Do you ever think that like whose hobby this is to like just sit at an open mic and hear all the stuff that we have to say?
No, I think I get it. If it's free and they're like, it's pretty, especially at good nights.
That's a good show.
I guess if you're going to the bar ones where it's just comics, I think that might be weird. Like you're not trying to fuck comedians, you're just watching comedy.
Yeah. And then, but you didn't just end up there.
No, yeah, this is something you do.
You do. I think that's a little, I don't understand. I appreciate those people endlessly, and it's such a privilege that they show up for us. I just also don't understand them. But these dudes keep showing up, and then like the guy, Tyler Wilson, I think, who went up before me was like, these guys are hot and they're always here. And it's like, yeah, they're hot, but like, so actually, wait, I skipped something. I asked them once, I was like, why do you guys keep coming here? Because they keep getting roasted every single time. So they always sit front row and they always get roasted the whole time. So like, what is worth it for them to like always get roasted and really put themselves in the spot because of how beautiful they are?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, he wants to do stand up once. So like they keep coming as a group because someone in the group wants to do stand up. And then I was really mean about it because I was like, they're hot, but they're not brave. But it's true.
It's so true.
All of the comedians liked it, but I felt bad after, and I was like, should I apologize? But also, like, if you come to an open mic probably 16 times in a row because you want to do comedy and you haven't done comedy yet, you just like quit or do it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot.
I think you were right. So what was life as a mean girl like?
Fun. Can be really fun.
Like, why do you think, were you aware of your mean girlness? Like, why do you think you did it?
I don't think that I do want to be clear. Like, I don't think that I was a mean girl in like a Regina George sort of like orchestrated way where it's like you have like plans in place and you're setting out to like make things harder for someone. I don't know anyone who ever did that.
Okay, I'm so glad you emphasized that because I wasn't even thinking that. Like, not like the Machiavellian, like weird, like okay.
Like, and I, definitely wasn't like the most popular girl in school trying to like maintain my like hierarchy of like girls. No, I just mean like a mean girl in the sense of like talking a lot of shit behind people's backs and being ungenerous with my opinions and not taking into sort of like everyone's unique situation into account.
Yeah.
And that was most of my school years, and even like more recently too, because sometimes it's like addicting. Sometimes you meet, frankly, for me, another woman, and you just like there's some magic in the air, and you're just like, here is all of the thoughts I have about every single person in my life and the meanest thing I could think of. And then I had an experience where I like had a best friend who I talked a lot of shit with because she was my best friend. And then our friendship ended, and I was like, oh shit, she knows all my secrets.
Oh, damn. So what do you do? What happened?
After that, I was just like, you got to be careful. She thankfully, like, nothing happened, like nothing came of that. But I was like, she knows all of this. Like, she has all of, and vice versa too. Like, I knew all of her shit too. But like, I was like, no, that's like not a good place to be at. And then I was also thinking like, I didn't like that all of like the things that I said, and like the fact that it was sort of like egging each other on about like who could be the meanest. It's not like like spiritually something that I want to be like involved with. And then another thing that happened, like when I first moved to North Carolina, and like you're trying to make friends, and you say yes to kind of like whoever invites you to do anything, because like you're trying to make friends and you're explore the city that you live in. And I started hanging out with these like political people. And then they would just like talk shit about all this other political people that like I didn't even really know. And I would be like, oh yeah, her Instagram, or just like trying to like be a part of the conversation. Yeah. And I found myself like talking shit about people I didn't even really know, just so I could like participate in this sort of like, I was like, I don't like that either. And I'm not friends with those people anymore, because I just was like, I don't want to just like, that's not fun for me. And so like, I'm really trying to be very conscious of not talking shit and being like trying to be very positive about when I talk about other people.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, damn. So was that last with the political people? Was that the time you were like, I'm going to reform?
No, it was when my friendship broke up with this person and I was like, fuck, they could really do a lot of damage to me.
God.
So truly for selfish reasons.
It's like the countries with the nuclear bombs. Like nobody's going to use them because everybody's going to die. It's like,
Or like a business deal with someone and they're like, oh yeah, actually like our business partnership ended up and now I can tank this business because I know how they function and stuff.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys, did you guys leave on bad terms?
Who?
With
me
the-
and my,
with the
oh
friend?
yeah, it was like pretty bad terms.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if
So.
there was like ever like a follow-up conversation to where you're like, are we cool? Like,
The pandemic happened
Yeah.
and then that sort of like created like a natural, like we like weren't like gonna see each other. So we never
Okay.
really had that conversation. But from what I understand, they're thriving and it's like a really good, like I'm, at a point where I'm like very happy for them to do whatever their thing. And like,
Yeah.
I think all of the paranoia feelings where I was like, this person has like so much shit on me. I think that was just like my own paranoia and insecurity, but also like helpful in the sense that I realized that I really didn't want to be someone who just talked a lot of shit all day.
yeah, that's fucking really cool that you came to that realization. Most people don't even come close to that.
It's like fun to talk shit.
Yeah, it gets, yeah. Did you hear about this?
Yeah. God. And it's like, I'm never going to be like perfect about it. And sometimes you have to like legitimately talk through a situation. And sometimes people do some shitty things and they
Yes.
deserve it.
Yeah.
But in general, you should like have generous feelings towards other people and like think about their situation.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to do that more.
That's good. If there's the way I look at it is like, am I willing to tell this to, like, if they hear, because they're
Yeah.
gonna hear, right?
Yeah.
If this person approaches me, am I willing to be like, yeah, I said that,
Yeah.
I wasn't being mean, and I always try not to, do it in a mean way, because I feel like your critique or whatever is like, you got to get it out. You can't leave it in there.
Yeah. And it's also, I think, a lot of like being a mean girl, like women are like, I talk different shit about men than about women. And I'm really trying to not talk shit about women. And I don't really care about talking shit about men anymore.
Okay.
Because usually when I'm talking shit about a man, I'm like, this idiot took a day to respond to my text when I was trying to see like what he was doing this weekend. And he responded 24 hours later. Valid. Being a reformed mean girl means that I am not interested in critiquing someone else's outfit just to like be like, ha ha ha, like she looks like shit. Like I don't need to do any of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And like being like, well, women are kind of like conditioned to be competitive with each other. And so like if I'm talking shit about a woman, it's usually because she makes me feel insecure.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So that conditioning, where do you think all that comes from?
Well, I think like being traditionally, historically, like women weren't really able to compete for like sports or jobs
Yeah.
or things. It was mostly just being like, who's prettiest and who can snag the most eligible man with her needlepoint or being able to read or something. And then when women were sort of like integrated, and then it's like, okay, well, we're gonna have like something that women comedians deal with is being the only woman on a lineup, which is pretty common. And then so if there's only going to be one woman on a lineup, then theoretically there might be competitive feelings about who gets picked for that lineup because we're all sort of going up for one spot.
Yeah.
And like you really have to sort of be like, hey, it's not a competition who's going to get that one spot. It's just not my month, right? For that show or that sort of thing. Maybe next month, once they get through like the checklist of girls they can choose from, they'll get to me. And I'll do my best, right? And so like that's the sort of thing where it's sort of like sometimes can be competitive without really needing to be competitive. And you just kind of got to think through and just be like, hey, no, it's not actually a competition. I'm just feeling insecure about something right now.
That's a great way to look at it. Same thing in the black community, and obviously different context and all that.
Yeah.
But like as being a black dude that hung out with white people, I remember running into other black dudes that hang out with white people, and then like them feeling like they're like, The movie Not Another Teen Movie made the joke.
Yeah,
like,
the token black guy.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is my party. That one, they did it funny, but there you could tell dudes where it's like he's not used to not being the only one. It's like it's like all the attention's mine. It's like it's weird. Like
they're the authority on black stuff for that friend group.
Yeah, my uncle, he used to call it what do you call it? He's like he's being a light skinned dude. I forgot what he called it, but he was like there's a dude that just they want to be the only the black guy in the room. The token black guy.
The token black guy. Yeah. I guess that's like a trope that's real in some way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you like you said, you're fighting for the one spot, but not in like
but they're
a group
just
of friends,
that, and that feeling's just like them being insecure about their place in their friend group.
Yeah. Or they feel they have to like, because there is that thing of like, oh gosh, it's like, am I going to be black enough for this black person? Is he going to think I'm an Uncle Tom for hanging out with these white people? What is he thinking about me right now? Like there's a whole bunch of weird things that go on.
We all have these like terrible internal monologues when at the end of the day, I think just like everyone is just like very insecure.
Everyone's just thinking about themselves,
but
everyone's also thinking that other people are thinking about them. It's that weird cycle. The gossip thing is funny because I read that gossip was one of the main factors as to why Homo sapiens took over the Neanderthals, like our ability to talk, like socialize and talk about other people, because that was like a form of protection. Like, hey, did you hear about this dude that did that? Like that kept people safe in a way. Yeah. Which I thought was a really cool thing to read. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
That's great. I love gossip. So I always want to hear everything.
It made me feel less bad. It's like, this is a primal thing.
I know. It's like, that's another thing to just like, that's something that at work, I think I'm best at being like, that's none of my business.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's good for you. Yeah.
Yeah. But in like my social life, I'm like, no, what happened? Tell me everything.
I like it too. As like almost like a, I don't like it sounds corny saying like human study, but like, it's all behavior shit and it's all like real life stuff that like, I want to know how that person reacted in that situation. Ooh, how they're going to handle this really fucking weird social interaction. That's like, it's just a genuine interest.
And I mean, I think that it's almost like a good, there's good gossip and there's like real bad gossip.
Yeah. There's like the weird, like character defamation. That's like, I just like know, like people will tell me their problems. I'm like, oh shit. Like,
I love to hear, like, I want to know, like I like small talk, I want to know how you got there, or like, I want to know something weird that happened to you or something, like a story I might not have heard before. I want to know all that stuff.
You said I like small talk and I love that. It's like most people say they hate small talk. Why do you love small talk?
Well, maybe I don't love small talk, but I think it serves a function, and I think that it can lead to like big talk, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like it's fine if you're just trying to like pass the time with some, like, I don't know. I think we talked about this last time, but I was like, I've been in a lot of situations where I was like at a work event and like just like hanging out at a work event, or like I moved to like a couple different states to like live by myself. And then like you really have to like get good at like making small talk with strangers when you like move somewhere alone, because like that's how you make a friend who could potentially have like a big talk with you. You just have to get through it. And like if you're just like passing the time somewhere alone or like at a work event and you can't just be like, oh yeah, like how are you today? Then it's like, that's honestly going to make things harder for yourself. It's like something, it's a muscle you have to flex.
Yeah. And I think it's a what is it? Invaluable skill to have, like you said.
Yeah.
The people that annoy me are the ones that like, oh, it's just so boring. It's like, you're a part of that conversation too. Like,
make it not boring.
Ask a fucking question.
Yeah.
Like, say something wild that makes them either go like laugh or walk away. Like,
I have to go to the bathroom. Make an excuse to leave. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that those are people who are just like, oh, I hate people. And I'm just like, I think that is annoying.
Yes. Oh gosh. So the harem pant.
Yeah, the harem pant. Not my favorite, but if it's someone's favorite, they're really comfortable.
They look comfy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the ad for one of those weird. I was like, that's too much.
And they serve a function too, I assume, because if you're in a sandy environment, having a cuff on your pant that's tight to the ankle, but also like a billowy pant because it's hot out, very comfortable and serving a function. So like, I really shouldn't talk shit.
Yo, you just dropped some knowledge there. That makes total sense as to why those pants are like.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. All right, so Low-rise jean, something we should never do. What do you think about the low-rise jean?
Oh, so for me, I don't think it's the most flattering thing. I do really like what's coming back for the visible thong. I think is really fun.
Really?
I don't think I would do that, but I think when I see people having a visible thong, I'm like, that's really fun for them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to do it, but good for them.
Yeah. And that's like that is how the attitude I am trying to have towards like other people's clothes always is to just be like, not for me, good for them. Unless it's like really schlubby and they're on stage. And then I'm like, you can do better. You're up in front of people.
Oh gosh. Schlubby. What was the last thing?
When you're up on stage. I do have feelings about that.
Being schlubby, what, like sweatpants?
Well, for me, like schlubby is the worst thing that I could be. Schlubby in public.
Okay.
Is the worst thing that I can be. But like, I won't pretend that I'm not schlubby. I work from home and I live alone. Like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Right.
you want to put on in public. You know, you're out. That's
But,
a very, I feel like a European mindset too. Like in Europe, people I think get dressed up more to go out. Whereas like here, they'll just
run into the store and like whatever they already had on.
Yeah. Just to minimize energy spent to do whatever.
And I also like understand that like people should have like easy, convenient lives. But I do think as like people who are up in front of people on stage, like if your clothes are disgusting or like really dirty or like they fit you terribly and people paid money to see you. I do have standards in that way. I try not to be like I said, I'm trying not to be ungenerous with other people, but I also think that if like someone from the audience is spending their own time and money to come see you, you can put on a clean clothes.
Yeah, I like the people doing different shit, especially as I get older and you see more like guys wearing, you know, the khaki and button plaid shirt crowd is like, oh, that's a weird thing he's wearing. I'm like, he's fucking
try stuff out. Yeah, I would love to see more people try more things than like do something. I would like take a swing. Yeah, usually it works, especially for comedians. We can get away with like one thing I have learned since being a comedian, especially someone who like eye roll, calls themselves whimsical. I can get away with some like stupider shit that I could have gotten away with beforehand.
Yeah.
And that's really fun for me.
That's a good point. I think that's why I broke out the Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, fuck this. The short shorts. I was told don't wear shorts on stage because I wore them when I first started comedy. And then recently I'm like, we're supposed to be a group of people that like question stupid rules. Then why are we following these rules? And the only argument is like, it's distracting. It's like, okay, so it's going to make my set harder. I'm okay with that sometimes. I don't need it to be like easy or whatever. It's like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know.
I think that rule feels like a late night rule, right? Where if you're going to do like a 5-minute spot on a late night show, like probably you shouldn't wear shorts. But if we're at an open mic in July in North Carolina, who are we to be like, wear full pants?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Do we really want like swampy balls?
Yeah, would know
all the time.
I kind of do want to do, if I want to do shorts. If I ever get 5 minutes on late night, I think I'm going to go with the shorts.
I was just talking to someone who was like, I want to see Freddie in shorts. He's the only one who I want to see in shorts, like only one of the guys. But I also think that shorts are like really hard for men. Like there's so many terrible shorts for men and they just like don't understand like where the cut needs to go or like men's pants. Like there needs to be an intervention for men's pants.
Okay. What about them needs to be?
Just flattering.
Okay.
Just
like, is the butt not good? Is like
so many are like too tight or too loose. Did I pull on a cord?
Oh no. Oh, good. The thing dropped out.
So many are like too tight or too loose, or too many pockets, or too long or too short. Or I can see you're sagging your pants in a way that isn't stylish. Or it's like I feel like people don't really sag their pants anymore. That was something very 90s.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're still doing that. And that's like weird.
Yeah.
Or, it's just like fit. And then it's like, other than that, I don't care if they're khaki or jeans, but like seeing too long of pant hems really bothers me because then it creates like a bunchy ankle or like they drag on the ground. One thing that's really started to annoy me is like really bulgy pockets.
Yeah. Like with too much shit in them?
Too much shit in them.
Yes.
But
Oh
like
my gosh.
up at like a show or something, that's when I'm like, I really want men to empty their pockets. And that I feel like I'm talking shit or being mean, but like you just look so much better if you don't have a bunch of shit in your pockets. The natural line of your body is just like going to look really so much better than having like a cell phone imprint.
Yeah, that's why the fanny pack's the way to go. Just carry all my shit in that
Yeah.
and just fucking. I hate putting shit in my pockets. I hate carrying anything I don't need.
I hate carrying things.
Yeah.
I don't like having things. Why are men's wallets so thick?
I have no fucking idea. I have a phone that has 3 cards: my bank card, my ID, and I think my insurance card.
Yeah.
Because and men still like they'll be fat ass.
Why
It's like
is it-
business cards. There's no
Yeah.
reason.
And especially nowadays to
Yeah.
have like a really fat, clunky wallet when like most people don't even really carry around cash that much.
I remember as a young boy being like, I can't wait to have a fucking wallet. I think it's like in this like
Yeah.
thing of like I'm a man. I
Yeah,
have
like a little
wallet.
every little girl wants a purse.
Yeah. So that's probably but you guys get to do the purses and you guys do them well. There's a lot of purses.
I would love to see more men's purses.
That's true. Yeah, those are in style now. They were in Europe for a long time.
Yeah.
I remember
But take them off before usually they go up because I think that there's a lot of your man bag is good. You're great. You don't have to change anything style-wise.
you can be honest with me, Devon. You can be mean to me. Actually.
No, because you turn it into something, and that's funny. Whenever you bring it up, it's very acknowledged. But I think that there was like right when I started doing comedy, I remember there was like a making fun of a trope of like a dude who wouldn't take his backpack off when he would go up and do open mics.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's not like funny. That's just like, dude, why didn't you take your backpack off?
Yeah, it's a part of the outfit for him.
Yeah.
He's like, this is my look.
Or it's like this is my emotional support backpack.
What would be in there? A blanket, obviously. That's
Pictures of his mom, journals,
undeveloped pictures of his mom in the bag too. That he's gonna go to 1 hour photo.
a laptop just like full of porn.
The tab's already up, ready to go.
It's just the porn laptop. It's no other use.
He has a hotspot so he can watch it in like the middle of a park.
Yeah, it's downloaded too. So, yeah. I don't know. It's just like, that's when I feel like, am I talking shit if I like just want men to empty their pockets before they go up on stage?
No.
Or is that like a helpful tip? Because I get a lot of unsolicited notes from male comics, and the only unsolicited note I would ever give is empty your pockets.
No, I agree with you. I'm probably biased because I hate carrying stuff in my pockets, but yeah, agreed. It's like it's almost like distracting. And the pants these days are a little more form fitting too.
Yeah.
So it's like fucking bulges and lumps.
The only bulge should be your penis bulge.
Right, that should be, and you don't want to distract from the penis bulge unless you got a little. What if you don't have a good bulge though?
You shouldn't. There should be no bulge. If you don't have a good bulge, then there should be nothing to work with.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have a good bulge, you don't want to distract.
No. Why would you want 3 bulges when you can just have the main good bulge?
Just boom.
Yeah, I don't need to know what type of phone you have from the imprint of your pants.
That's true. All right. I like this. We're covering good stuff. We're already over the hour. I like to keep these at an hour. We're going to keep going for just a little bit. All right. So what do you think of the crowd that it's like the khaki boat shoes, that style group? Because I feel like our American subcultures, you can kind of pick them out from like the way they dress. Like,
though, visually, maybe not my favorite. I think it's a little too maybe like corporate or like old money.
Yeah.
I will say those tend to be like have clothes that like fit well, right?
Yeah.
So, and when it comes to men's clothes, I really just want like the clothes to fit well, but also like, do I want to hang out with someone who thinks they're going to be the governor one day because like their dad was the governor or like their uncle or something? No, that does not appeal to me.
No, yeah, that's a different kind of energy. That's like,
yeah,
I can't. I want to. I'd like to interview the girl that's like, that's what I'm looking for. I want me.
That's probably also like her. That's like what her brother dresses like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. Her dad.
So like it makes sense to them, and that's great.
Yeah.
That's good for their community. It's not necessarily where I mill around.
What are some other pants trends you're not feeling?
God, there's like, unfortunately, I'm about to make fun of the Obama girls, but there was just 2 pictures of the 2 of them, and I think that they're thriving. Obviously, they're thriving. They'll always have more money than me, so it's also something I can make fun of. But truly, Sasha Obama was wearing the most tragic pants. She was wearing like Jenko jeans.
Oh my God. Are they going to come back? Yeah, are they going to come back?
I think that they're back because she's one of the coolest, hippest, they're the coolest, hippest young girls. They're not public figures, but they're famous, and there will always be paparazzi photos of them. And I think that they're back.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Did you have a pair or like?
No. And thankfully, I was more the type, I thankfully never wanted them, and my mom would never buy them for me, but I was just like a emo teenager. So I was probably more going to end up with like the terrible Hot Topic pants with like the red stitches and too many zippers. I never had any of those, thankfully. But like if we're talking real big pants, like that's the spectrum I would have ended up on.
What were your, did you pretty much have like the same style throughout your life, or were there like stages of like, you were emo and then you?
I've always cared about clothes. Like I have very early memories of like being very specific about my clothes.
Yeah.
And I think it's always kind of been, well, actually I'm just trying to wear more color now, but I went through like many years, probably from 13 to like 28, where I was just wearing a lot of black and just like all black outfits, but like not in like always like a goth way, in like a good way. I think I'm not, I feel confident about most of the clothes I've ever worn ish. But like nowadays I'm trying to wear more color and just like not trying to wear exclusively like black shirts and
That's
stuff.
good. You're trying to change it up.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think that there's always kind of been threads throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you see a guy with an oversized scarf. What do you think of him?
Oversized scarf.
Oversized scarf on a dude.
Do you know that picture of Lenny Kravitz?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's exactly what I think of. I'm like, Lenny, I'm obsessed with your daughter. Is she around?
All right. You see, we already talked about dude in boat shoes. All right. Oh, here's a good one. People have opinions on this one. 35 plus guy in a comic book t-shirt.
Fine if it's clean.
Okay. Yeah.
And like not like like raggedy,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've heard girls say like, I can't do that. I feel like that guy doesn't have his shit together. I'm like, how can you?
I feel like if you're like ragging on someone for wearing a t-shirt, like, don't you have something better to do? It's a t-shirt. It's not, It doesn't say anything like racist on it.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of a racist Marvel character.
Well, there's like those like Punisher shirts
they had to change the logo because
just like anything like stupid and right wing, or like too many American flags.
Or the shirts in the back that say, if you touch my freedom, I'm gonna hit you. It's like a whole paragraph.
It's like, I have guns. Basically, a shirt that's just like, I got a lot of guns.
Yeah.
To me, that's like a bad shirt. But if there's a shirt from like, who am I to criticize like the most popular things around like Marvel stuff or comic books? Like
that's true. Yeah,
that's makes me like the weird one.
Yeah. What time we got? All right. This was fun, Devon.
Okay. Yeah. I had fun too.
Yeah. This has been my longest podcast in a while. Where can people find you?
I'm on a show this weekend at William and Company on the 13th, which is the Super Bowl, which I didn't realize, but I think people will be there. And then I'm on the Neptune show and the 27th at the Poorhouse. Those were my locals. And then always hitting that mic circuit.
Nice.
And then social media at Dev Roberts on Instagram and at Dev the Band on Twitter with 3 V's.
You're like popping on Twitter, right? That's where
I'm okay. Yeah, I do okay.
I'd like to spend more time there. That's the one I haven't really.
That's where the fun is.
That's what I hear. I thought it was dying at one point, but it seems like
pandemic.
It like picked up like a motherfucker.
That's where the jokes are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I need to spend more time now. I'll do that. What was it on Twitter again?
Dev the Band. DEVVV the band.
Dev the Band. All right, guys, subscribe, rate, and review to FredTalk. Share an episode. Follow Devon. Go to her shows. And let her say mean things to you. Bye.
Bye.